Ready for liftoff. Buckle up, because today we're taking a deep dive into space-time.
Space-time. Sounds intense.
Well, it's a book that claims it can make astronomy easy, even for, total beginners. We're talking Earthrise, the Big Bang, stardust, the whole universe.
I like how the author kicks things off with that iconic Earthrise photo. It really sets the stage.
Yeah, it makes you feel, really small.
Yeah.
Seeing Earth like that, this tiny, fragile thing against the blackness of space.
Definitely puts things into perspective, and that whole idea of interconnectedness, it comes up a lot in the book, especially when we get to the origins of, well, everything.
Okay, let's talk Big Bang. The book says the universe started from this point so tiny it's impossible to imagine. How does that even work?
So imagine everything, all the stars, planets, galaxies crammed into something smaller than, a pinhead. That's what we're talking about. Then bam, this tiny point explodes and starts expanding super fast. And guess what? It's still expanding today.
Whoa, hold on. So the universe, went from 0 to 100 in a split second. And from that explosion, we got, everything we see around us.
Pretty much. And you know what's cool? The book explains how galaxies formed using this analogy. Think about water swirling down a drain. That's kind of how galaxies formed. All that dust and gas after the Big Bang, it clumps together and starts to spin, eventually making these huge spiral shapes.
Okay, I can picture that. So within those galaxies, we have billions of stars, right?
Oh, yeah, billions and billions. And here's another mind-blowing thing the book talks about. When we look at stars, we're actually looking back in time.
Wait, what? Looking back in time? I don't get it.
Okay, so light takes time to travel, right? The farther away a star is, the longer it takes for its light to reach us. So when you see a star that's, say, hundreds of light years away, you're seeing light that left that star hundreds of years ago. It's like a time machine.
Whoa, that's wild. We're getting a glimpse of the universe's past.
Speaking of the past, what about those stars themselves? They don't live forever, right? Nope, they have a lifespan too. They're born, they shine, and then they die. The book goes into detail about how stars form from giant clouds of gas and dust, and their life can be really short or super long, depending on how big they are.
And some of them go out with a bang, right? The book talks about supernovas, these huge explosions.
Yeah, supernovas are insane. Imagine temperatures reaching billions of degrees. It's crazy powerful.
Like a cosmic fireworks show on steroids. But there's more to it than just a light show, right?
Oh, definitely. Supernovas are crucial for creating the stuff that makes up, you and me. They're like these giant factories forging heavier elements like carbon, oxygen, even gold. And then all that stuff gets scattered through the universe, eventually forming new stars and planets.
Wait, so you're telling me that everything around us, everything we see and touch, even our bodies, is made from exploded stars?
Exactly. We were literally stardust. Pretty cool, huh?
It's mind-blowing. Makes you feel connected to, everything. Okay, the book talks a lot about our sun. What's the deal with that?
Well, the sun is our local energy source, basically. The book explains how it creates energy through nuclear fusion. Imagine hydrogen atoms smashing together and turning into helium, releasing insane amounts of energy.
So a non-stop nuclear reaction happening right in our backyard? That's a bit scary.
Well, it's pretty powerful, that's for sure. And the book talks about solar flares, those bursts of energy that can mess with satellites and even cause blackouts. Remember the one in Quebec a while back? That was a solar flare.
Yeah, that was a mess. So the sun gives us life, but it can also cause some serious trouble. And what about those sunspots? The book mentions they're linked to Earth's climate.
Yeah, sunspots are like cooler, darker patches on the sun. And they come and go in cycles. And get this, the number of sunspots seems to affect our climate. The book even suggests that some past ice ages might have been caused by changes in sunspot activity.
That's crazy. So even little changes on the sun can have a huge impact on Earth.
Totally. And speaking of changes, let's talk about how planets formed. The book has this cool analogy for that, too.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Let's hear it.
Picture a bathtub full of bubbles, right? When those bubbles bump into each other, they combine and get bigger. Planets formed kind of like that.
So after the sun formed, all the leftover dust and gas started sticking together like those bubbles, slowly growing bigger and bigger over millions of years until, bam, we got planets.
You got it. That process is called accretion, and it's why we have so many different types of planets, from tiny, rocky ones to gas giants.
Makes sense.
Okay.
Let's zoom in on those planets. The book takes us on a tour of the solar system, starting with Mercury.
Mercury is kind of overlooked, but it's pretty cool. The book talks about how its surface is covered in craters, like it's been bombarded by asteroids and comets forever.
Yeah, it's like the solar system's punching bag. And it gets super hot there,
Oh,
right?
yeah, extremely hot during the day, like 800 degrees Fahrenheit. But then at night, it plummets to something like negative 290 degrees. Talk about extreme.
Yeah, you'd need a serious spacesuit to handle that. Okay, next up is Venus, right? Earth's so-called twin.
Well, more like Earth's evil twin. Venus is covered in this thick, poisonous atmosphere that traps heat like crazy. It's scorching hot on the surface, with volcanoes erupting and even metal snow.
Yikes, that doesn't sound very inviting.
Not at all. Makes you appreciate Earth a lot more, though.
Definitely. So let's talk about Earth. The book really seems to appreciate how special our planet is.
It does. The book highlights what makes Earth unique. We've got this perfect atmosphere with breathable air, liquid water, which is essential for life as we know it. And the book talks about how Earth is constantly changing, with continents moving, volcanoes erupting, and earthquakes shaking things up.
It's a lively planet, that's for sure. And of course, we can't forget about the moon. What's the book's take on that?
The book points out how important the moon is to Earth. It controls our tides. And it even explores how the moon might have formed. The leading theory is that it was created when a huge object smashed into Earth billions of years ago.
Whoa, so the moon might be a leftover piece from a giant cosmic collision. And there's talk about ice on the moon, right?
Yeah, the book mentions that scientists think there could be frozen water ice hidden in those craters. It could be super useful for future lunar missions, like a source of water and fuel.
Makes you wonder what else is hiding up there. Okay, next stop, Mars. The red planet, the one everyone's always talking about.
Mars is definitely intriguing. We used to think there were canals and Martians, but that turned out to be a bust. But the book talks about evidence for liquid water in the past, which means there might have been life there a long time ago.
Yeah, the book talks about those Mars rovers, Spirit and Opportunity. They found some cool clues about Mars's watery past.
They did. And while living on Mars today would be a huge challenge, what with the thin atmosphere and all, the book explores the possibility of future human missions. Maybe one day we'll even have a Martian colony.
Imagine that, the first humans born on Mars. That's wild.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to the big guys, the gas giants. Jupiter first, right?
Jupiter is massive, like a mini solar system in itself. The book describes its huge storms, including the Great Red Spot, which is bigger than Earth.
And remember that comet that crashed into Jupiter back in the 90s? The book talks about that, right?
Oh yeah, Comet Shoemaker-Levy 9. It was a string of comet fragments that slammed into Jupiter. It was a huge event. We could even see the impacts from Earth.
Must have been an incredible sight. And speaking of incredible sights, what about Saturn and its rings?
Saturn's rings are iconic. The book explains they're made up mostly of ice particles, from tiny grains to chunks as big as houses.
It's crazy how something so delicate-looking can exist in space. How did those rings even form?
Well, scientists think a moon might have gotten too close to Saturn and got ripped apart by its gravity. The debris from that moon became the rings.
So, a bit of a cosmic tragedy, but it resulted in something beautiful. Okay, after Saturn, we've got the ice giants, Uranus and Neptune. Those are way out there, right?
Yeah, at the edge of our solar system. The book mentions that it took the Voyager 2 spacecraft like 12 years to reach them.
12 years. That's a long time to be in space. What did Voyager find out about those planets?
Well, Uranus is a bit of an oddball. It spins on its side, which is super weird, and its rings and moons orbit in a different direction than you'd expect.
So Uranus likes to do things its own way. What about Neptune?
Neptune is known for its crazy strong winds, some of the fastest in the solar system. It's got a great dark spot, too, a huge storm, but it's not as long-lasting as Jupiter's.
So Neptune's like the windy city of the solar system.
Yeah.
Wow, it's amazing how different all the planets are. It's not just like rocks in space. Each one has its own personality.
Exactly. And we haven't even talked about comets and meteors. Those are like the wild cards of the solar system.
Yeah, they zoom around doing their own thing. What's the deal with those?
Comets are basically like dirty snowballs. They're made of ice, dust, and rock. They hang out in the outer solar system, and sometimes they swing close to the sun, creating those awesome tails we see.
Oh yeah, I've seen a comet before. It was breathtaking. It's amazing to think they've been traveling through space for, like, billions of years.
Yeah.
But the book says they can also be dangerous, right?
Yeah, they can. Remember that crater in Arizona? Meteor crater? A comet did that thousands of years ago. So they're beautiful, but they pack a punch.
Like a cosmic double-edged sword. What about meteors? Are those the same thing?
Sort of. Meteors are smaller pieces of space junk, usually from asteroids or comets. They burn up in Earth's atmosphere, creating those shooting stars we see.
Those shooting stars. I love those. I always make a wish when I see one, but some of them actually hit the ground, right?
Yeah, if they survive the fiery trip through the atmosphere, they're called meteorites. They're like little pieces of space that we can actually hold.
It's like having a piece of the universe delivered right to your doorstep. Now, the book also talks about two moons that have scientists really excited, Europa and Titan. What's so special about those?
Europa orbits Jupiter, and it's covered in ice. But scientists think there's a huge ocean under that ice, maybe even bigger than all the oceans on Earth combined.
Whoa, an ocean under the ice. You're kidding. Could there be life down there?
That's what scientists are trying to figure out. The book talks about how Jupiter's gravity might create heat inside Europa, keeping the ocean liquid. And there might even be hydrothermal vents, like the ones on Earth where life exists without sunlight.
So, like a secret world beneath the ice. That's mind-blowing. What about Titan? What's the deal with that moon?
Titan is Saturn's largest moon, and it's totally unique. It's got this thick atmosphere, and there are lakes and seas, but they're not water, they're liquid methane.
Wait, liquid methane. Isn't methane a gas?
It is here on Earth, but on Titan, it's so cold that methane becomes a liquid. It rains down from the sky and forms rivers and lakes.
It's like an alien world straight out of a movie. Could there be life there, too?
It's possible. Life on Titan would be super different from Earth, but scientists think it could exist in that environment, maybe using liquid methane instead of water.
It's amazing to think about all the different forms life could take. It really challenges our imagination.
It does, and that's one of the most exciting things about space exploration. It constantly pushes the boundaries of what we know and what we think is possible.
Okay, so we've explored our solar system. What about what's beyond that? The book goes into the search for other Earths, planets orbiting other stars.
Yeah, the search for exoplanets is heating up. The Kepler Space Telescope has found thousands of them, all sorts of different sizes and types.
Okay, so we found tons of exoplanets, but are any of them like Earth? Place where we could actually live?
That's the big question. We haven't found Earth's twin yet, but the book talks about Kepler 22b. It's bigger than Earth, but it orbits a star similar to our sun. And get this, it's in the habitable zone.
Hold on, remind me again what the habitable zone is.
It's the sweet spot around a star where the temperature is just right for liquid water to exist on a planet's surface, and we think liquid water is essential for life.
So Kepler 22b could have oceans, maybe even continents and forests. Couldn't there be aliens living there right now?
It's possible, but we're still in the early stages of studying exoplanets. We can't see their surfaces or detect life directly yet.
So how do we figure out if there's actually life out there? We can't just hop on a spaceship and go check.
Well, not yet anyway. The distances are crazy huge. Kepler 22b is 600 light years away. That means it would take 600 years for light to travel from there to here.
Wow, that's a long trip.
Yeah.
So even if we could travel at the speed of light, which we can't, it would still take forever to get there.
Exactly. To put it in perspective, if we could send a message to Kepler 22b at the speed of light, it would take 1,200 years to get a reply back.
Wow, that's one slow text message. So for now, we have to study these exoplanets from afar, using telescopes and stuff. It's like trying to understand another country just by looking at it through a telescope.
It's a good analogy, but even with those limitations, we're learning a lot. We're discovering that planetary systems are super diverse. There's a whole lot more out there than we ever imagined.
It's kind of mind-blowing to think that our little solar system is just one tiny part of a much bigger picture. So many possibilities. Okay, the book also talks about trying to contact aliens, right? Have we got any luck with that?
Not yet, but it's a big universe. It seems unlikely that we're the only intelligent life out there.
I agree. But if they're out there, why haven't they contacted us? It's like that Fermi paradox, right?
Exactly. There are a lot of theories. Maybe their technology is so different from ours we can't even recognize it. Or maybe they're intentionally hiding from us.
Maybe they're watching us from afar like, those humans are a mess.
Maybe. But the search continues. Scientists are using giant telescopes to look for signals, like radio waves that might be coming from alien civilizations.
It's like searching for a needle in a haystack, though, right?
Definitely. But imagine if we did make contact. It would be the biggest discovery in history.
It would change everything. Okay, what about those UFO sightings? Does the book talk about that?
It does touch on it, but it's a controversial topic. There have been a lot of reported UFO sightings, but there's no solid evidence that any of them are alien spaceships.
So those blurry photos of weird lights in the sky, probably not aliens.
Probably not. Most of those sightings can be explained as natural stuff, like weather balloons or meteors, or they might be hoaxes or just people misinterpreting what they see.
So, like, keep an open mind, but Don't believe everything you see on those alien TV shows.
Exactly. You need solid evidence before you can claim it's aliens. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence.
Well, that seems like a good place to pause for now. We've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our deep dive into space-time. From the Big Bang to the possibility of alien life, we've explored some pretty mind-blowing concepts. And we're back for more cosmic adventures. Last time, we journeyed from Earth to the edge of our solar system, met some giant planets, checked out icy moons, and even dodged a few comets. Now we're going even deeper into the mysteries of the universe, tackling those big questions that have been puzzling humans forever. Are we alone in the universe? Is there life out there beyond Earth?
Those are the questions, all right. And our book Space-Time dives right into them. It picks up where he left off, exploring the hunt for those exoplanets, planets outside our solar system.
Right. We were talking about the Kepler telescope, how it's been finding all these new worlds.
Kepler has been a total game changer. It's revolutionized the way we look for planets. Get this. Kepler can spot a planet passing in front of a star by detecting tiny dips in the star's brightness. It's super subtle, but it works.
It's like trying to see a tiny bug crawling across a giant spotlight. But Kepler's found thousands of these exoplanets, right? And some of them might even be habitable.
Exactly. And that's where things get really exciting. We haven't found an exact Earth twin yet, but the book talks about this one planet, Kepler 22b, that's pretty intriguing. It's bigger than Earth, but it orbits a star like our sun. And the best part, it's right in the habitable zone.
Okay, remind me what the habitable zone is again.
It's the sweet spot around a star where the temperature's not too hot, not too cold, but just right for liquid water. And we think liquid water is key for life as we know it.
So Kepler 22b could have oceans, rivers, maybe even like alien rainforests.
It's definitely possible, but we have to be careful. We're still in the early days of studying exoplanets. We can't actually see their surfaces or detect life directly yet.
So how do we figure out if there's really life on these distant planets? We can't just like fly over there and check.
Not with our current technology, that's for sure. The distances are just too vast. Kepler 22b is a whopping 600 light years away. That means it would take light, traveling at 186,000 miles per second, 600 years to get from there to here.
Whoa, that's like a really long road trip.
To put it another way, imagine sending a text message to Kepler 22b. It would take 1,200 years to get a reply.
Talk about a delayed response. So for now, we're stuck observing these exoplanets from a distance using telescopes and other instruments. It's like trying to figure out what's going on in a foreign country by looking at it through a telescope from miles away.
Pretty much. But we're still learning a ton. We're discovering that planetary systems are amazingly diverse. There's so much variety out there.
It's like realizing that our little solar system is just one tiny example of what's possible. There can be countless other variations out there. It's amazing. So let's talk about contacting aliens. Have we had any luck picking up signals from other civilizations?
Nothing concrete yet. But it's a huge universe. The odds of us being the only intelligent life out there seem pretty slim.
I agree. But if they're out there, why haven't we heard from them? That whole Fermi paradox thing. Right?
Exactly. It's this head-scratcher of a problem. The possibility of alien civilizations seems high, but we haven't found any evidence of them. There are tons of theories, though. Maybe their technology is so advanced we wouldn't even recognize it as technology.
Or maybe they're just ignoring us. Like they're watching our reality TV shows and thinking, yeah, no thanks.
Huh. Maybe. Who knows? But the search goes on. Scientists are scanning the skies, looking for signals like radio waves that might be coming from alien civilizations.
It's a long shot, but if we did find something, it would be incredible.
The biggest scientific discovery ever. Okay, shifting gears for a second, the book also touches on the idea that aliens have already visited us. What about those UFO sightings?
Yeah, what about those blurry photos of mysterious lights in the sky? Are those alien spaceships?
Most likely not. Most UFO sightings can be explained as perfectly normal things.
Yeah.
Weather balloons, airplanes, even bright stars or planets that people misinterpret.
So it's more likely to be a weather balloon than a spaceship full of little green men.
Yeah, pretty much. But it's still fun to think about the possibility, right?
Absolutely. It's part of the mystery and excitement of exploring the universe. Okay, moving on to something even wilder. The book talks about the multiverse. The idea that there might be other universes out there.
Yeah, the multiverse. It's a mind-bending concept, but it comes up in some areas of physics like quantum mechanics and cosmology. It basically suggests that our universe might be just one of many.
So there could be other universes out there with different laws of physics, different dimensions, maybe even different versions of ourselves.
That's what some theories suggest. It's really hard to wrap your head around because it challenges everything we think we know about reality.
It sounds like science fiction. But could we ever travel to these other universes? Can we meet our alternate selves?
That's where things get really speculative. The idea of traveling to or communicating with other universes is way beyond what we can do right now. We don't even know if it's possible.
So the multiverse is still just a theory, a really cool theory, but a theory nonetheless.
Exactly. But even if we can't visit other universes, just the idea that they might exist changes the way we think about the cosmos. It makes you realize how much is still unknown out there.
It's definitely humbling. Okay, the book ends with some pretty deep thoughts about humanity's place in the universe. It gets pretty philosophical.
It does. It makes you think about the vastness of space and time and how tiny and fleeting our existence is in comparison. It's easy to feel insignificant when you think about it that way.
Yeah, it can be a bit overwhelming. But the book also suggests that maybe our smallness isn't a bad thing.
Right. It can be liberating to step outside our Earth-centric perspective and just marvel at the beauty and complexity of the universe. It makes you appreciate the bigger picture.
And it makes you realize that we're all part of something much bigger than ourselves. We're connected to the cosmos in ways we're only beginning to understand.
Exactly. That's one of the things I love about space-time. It's not just about learning facts, it's about understanding our place in the universe and appreciating the wonder of it all.
Okay, before we wrap up, any key takeaways you want to leave our listeners with?
Definitely. First, remember that image of Earthrise we talked about? Our tiny blue planet against the blackness of space? It's a powerful reminder of how fragile and interconnected we are. We need to protect this planet.
Absolutely. And what about the possibility of life beyond Earth? Should we be hopeful?
I think a healthy mix of hope and skepticism is good. The universe is vast, and the conditions for life seem to be out there, but finding actual proof is going to take time and a lot of careful research.
So keep an open mind, but don't jump to conclusions. What about those bigger questions? About our place in the universe and the meaning of it all? Does the book offer any answers?
Not in any definitive way, but it encourages us to keep searching, to keep asking those big questions, and to never lose that sense of wonder about the universe.
Well said. It's a good reminder that the journey of discovery never really ends. There's always more to learn and explore. And we're back for the grand finale of our cosmic adventure. We've traveled from Earth to the edge of our solar system and beyond, explored the possibility of alien life, and even pondered the mind-bending concept of the multiverse. Now, let's take a step back and reflect on what we've learned from our deep dive into space-time. What really struck you about this book?
You know, what impressed me the most is how the author manages to blend hard science with this real sense of awe and wonder. It's not just about dry facts and figures, it's about making you feel the mystery and beauty of the universe.
I totally agree. Learning about the composition of Saturn's rings or the distance to a far-off galaxy is cool, but the book goes deeper than that. It tells the stories behind the science, makes it all come alive.
Exactly. Those stories are what we remember, what spark our curiosity and make us want to learn more. Remember that analogy about galaxy formation, the one comparing it to water swirling down a drain?
Oh, yeah. That was a good one.
It's such a simple image, but it suddenly makes this complex process easy to grasp.
Right. It's like, boom, a light bulb goes off. You're not just memorizing facts. You're actually understanding them.
Right.
And that's what makes space-time so great. It makes the universe accessible to everyone, even if you're not a scientist.
Definitely. And one of the big themes that keeps coming up is the sheer scale of space and time. Light years, billions of years. It's mind-boggling.
It's almost impossible to imagine, right?
Right.
But the book helps us wrap our heads around it with those clever analogies, like comparing the sun's energy to trillions of nuclear bombs going off every second.
Yeah, or describing the distances between stars in terms of how long it would take to travel there, even at the speed of light. Talk about a long journey.
Makes you feel pretty small, doesn't it?
It definitely puts things into perspective. And speaking of perspective, one of the most profound questions the book tackles is, are we alone in the universe? Discovering all those exoplanets, especially ones like Kepler-22b, really makes us confront that question.
It's a question humans have been asking for ages. And now with all these new discoveries, it feels more relevant than ever. So, what do you think? Are we alone?
Honestly, I don't know, and I'm not sure anyone does. The universe is vast, and we've only just begun to explore it, but I think the search itself is what matters. It pushes us to innovate, to develop new technologies, and to expand our understanding of the cosmos.
It's exciting and a bit scary at the same time, right? To think that we might not be the only ones out there.
It definitely challenges our worldview. But even if we are alone, it makes life on Earth even more precious.
That's true. Which brings us to another key takeaway from the book: the fragility of our planet. That Earthrise image, seeing Earth as this tiny blue dot in space, it's a stark reminder of how vulnerable we are.
Absolutely. It makes you realize that all the things we worry about, all our conflicts and problems, they seem so insignificant when you look at Earth from that perspective.
Right. It's like, hey, we're all in this together, folks. Let's take care of this planet.
Exactly. Protecting our planet is essential, not just for us, but for all future generations.
So what's the big message we want our listeners to take away from this deep dive into space-time?
I'd say it's this: never stop looking up, never stop exploring, and never stop asking questions. The universe is full of mysteries, and the more we learn, the more we realize how much we still don't know.
It's like peeling back the layers of a cosmic onion. There's always another layer beneath, waiting to be discovered.
And that sense of wonder, that drive to explore the unknown, is what makes space exploration so captivating.
It's also a reminder that we're all connected, not just to each other here on Earth, but to the entire cosmos. Like Carl Sagan said, we are made of stardust.
What a powerful thought. We are literally a part of the universe, woven from the same stuff that makes up stars and galaxies.
And that connection makes space exploration so meaningful. It's about understanding our origins, our place in the grand scheme of things. It's about the journey that brought us to this point in time.
It's amazing to think about those Voyager spacecraft. They're out there traveling beyond our solar system, carrying messages from humanity, those golden records with sounds and images from Earth. It's our way of saying, hey, universe, we're here.
It's like throwing a message in a bottle into the cosmic ocean, hoping that someday someone out there will find it.
What a beautiful way to put it. Well, I think our journey through space-time has come to an end. It's been an incredible exploration filled with awe, wonder, and a renewed appreciation for the incredible universe we call home.
I couldn't agree more. So to our listeners, we leave you with this. Keep looking up at the night sky with a sense of wonder and curiosity. Keep exploring. Keep asking questions. The cosmos is out there waiting to be discovered. And who knows what incredible secrets we'll uncover along the way.